Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Live and Learn. We have our very favorite divorce attorney with us again today, and her name is Annette Cox Sandoval with Cox Sandoval Law. She is local here to the Chandler, Arizona area, for those of you who might be listening across the country. And today we're going to talk about something that I think is a really important topic. And I don't see it talked about very much. So I don't know how much it's talked about. And I feel like it's really important, Annette, because your business, like my business, we're not all created equal. Like every divorce attorney is not the same. Every real estate agent is not the same. There are some big differences. So what is your advice for those out there that might be just embarking on this journey and starting to put pieces together and starting to figure out who's going to be on their team? What is your advice when searching for the right divorce attorney?
Well, I know that there are a lot of considerations that people have to take into account. I mean, cost is one, obviously, but I think the most important is to just trust your gut and make sure that when you're talking with someone that you feel respected by the attorney, that you feel heard by the attorney, and that you have confidence in them. It's definitely a relationship where you have to trust in each other. And, as an attorney, I have to trust what my client is saying too. And so I want to work with people who are willing to take my advice, that are willing to kind of follow my instructions. And likewise, I want my clients to feel comfortable with me. So just like you mentioned, not all attorneys are made for every client. It's very much like a marriage, some are just not meant to be. But I think if people can trust their gut, don't hesitate to talk to more than one, talk to a few attorneys, get a feel, and then keep in mind the cost factors. And there's some truth to, you get what you pay for. So having private counsel is an investment. But I think it's also important when you are talking with the attorneys to make notes. It's easy to get us confused. We often say the same thing. Sometimes we'll say that maybe different things, but take notes and then ultimately choose who you feel confident in.
Totally agree. And I love that advice. How do you have any tips on how somebody could assess the experience level or if an attorney has the experience that they need to bring them through this process, and make it a win? Well, not necessarily, I didn't mean like they necessarily need to win, but make it a win in the relationship.
Right. I think that most attorneys are willing to talk about their experience in family law. I think it's okay to look people up on the State Bar website. It's azbar.org. If there's been any kind of maybe ethical issues, it might come up on the bar's site. But even then, you can see how long they've at least been licensed to practice in Arizona. And there are some attorneys who might just dabble in family law. And then there are other attorneys who that's all they do. So it's important, I think, to ask, like, oh, well, do you take personal injury cases too? Or do you do any kind of breach of contract disputes? And I would say that if a divorce attorney says that they handle all of the above, I would probably shy away, because it means that family law is not their main kind of niche.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So they're doing it over and over. They're seeing, because I can imagine, and it's kind of similar for me too, not every case is going to be exactly the same, right?
Right. Every case might have similar issues, but it's a different story. You're dealing with different people. And so they've had different experiences. There might be different levels of evidence. And then you've even got a different judge, potentially a different opposing counsel. So all of those things can affect the outcome.
Totally agree. And the more that somebody is working in that consistently and is dealing with those different cases, although they are different, they're still, fall within the family law vein, then the more experienced they're going to be naturally, because that's what they do the most of. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to add as far as advice for looking for that perfect match?
I think that covers it.
That's a quick one. It's a quick one, but it was quick and to the point, and your advice was perfect. And I appreciate that. You offer 30-minute, it's 30-minute, right? Free consultations. Can you just explain a little bit about that for anybody who might be out there that is getting ready to move through this process?
Sure. Well, the 30-minute consult is just a chance to ask some questions. And if you don't know what to ask, I'm happy to walk people through the process. And then usually questions will come up as we're just kind of talking about how you kind of start a divorce or start a custody action. So you just have to give us a call, and we can get you scheduled.
I love that. And I have your contact info in the show notes. So guys, you can easily just click on that, connect with Annette, get scheduled for that 30-minute consult. And I really appreciate that you have sort of preloaded questions for people to come in, because I went through a divorce myself many, many years ago, and it's overwhelming and it's scary, and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what to expect. And thankfully, I didn't go through it with kids, so I didn't have that additional factor. But I felt very lost, and I didn't know what questions to ask. So I think that that's awesome that you supply that to kind of get people moving, get their brains moving in that direction. And then, yeah, I imagine that their particular questions start to creep to the surface after that.
Yeah, and that's part of our job in the long run, when we're representing people, is to answer those questions. That's one of our purposes as an attorney, is to be there to kind of counsel and coach along the way. So,
and that's so valuable and so beneficial, because there are so many moving parts for that person that's going through that. Not only are they dealing with, their family splitting essentially, but they're splitting assets, they're moving potentially, there's just so much going on with that's all wrapped up in that. And so I can feel the overwhelm, and I'm not even going through it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's where we kind of lessen the burden. We take over the court part. We take over the, dealing with the other attorney or the other spouse, if they're unrepresented. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know you guys are amazing at what you do. So everybody hop over to our YouTube channel if you want to see more of Annette. We have many more topics. If you just scroll down, you are going to want to go to @MOMnation USA. That is our handle. Scroll down to the Live and Learn playlist first, which you will find this show and others. And then also scroll down just a little further, and you will see Divorcing as Parents. And that is a playlist that we put together with a bunch of topics. You're going to see Annette in there as well. And I love having that at my fingertips for the moms that come into MOMnation that are feeling lost, that are feeling overwhelmed. It just really helps out a lot. So thank you, Annette, for your help with that. And if you are more of the podcast type, maybe you run a lot, bike a lot, hike a lot, then you can hop over to your favorite podcast platform, do a quick search for MOMnation Talk Radio, and there you can connect with all of our episodes as well. Thank you so much, Annette. We'll see you next time.